Episode number 21 with Steve and Mike. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve and Mike, and in this episode, we're going to pick up right where we left off with last week's episode. Jacob had just left for a coaching session, and Mike and I discuss his latest deep run in one of the Sunday big tournaments. Thank you for listening, and we really appreciate you tuning into the podcast. There's a lot of poker podcasts out there that you could be listening to, and you chose to listen to us, and we thank you for that. So, sit back, relax if you're in your car, if you're at your computer, wherever you are, and enjoy the show.
So, Stevie, what did we learn here? With you guys got some good hand analysis there, or?
It was interesting going through the hands with Jacob that we played together. It made me realize I think I'm playing too tight. I think I'm playing well, at least against him. That's for sure. There were several spots where he was like, okay, well, would you? You raise me there, and then let's say I rip, what do you call with? And I give him my range, and he's like, oh yeah, I can shove with any two there. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And he's like, no, you're not calling enough, or you're opening too light. And so I'm like, all right. Now this is against Jacob, and he's extremely aggressive. So, but this is definitely an eye opener.
Right.
When I start moving up in limits, and I'm playing against guys like P. Kaiser and stuff. I think that could.
Well, the better players are capable of calling wider if they know what you're up to, I suppose. Yeah, there was the one of the hands I was going to review from last night when we were down to two tables, and there was only 10 players left. Was the one hand where, if you remember, the guy opened from the button, and I shoved King 5 off, and you were like, "What?"
Yeah.
And Jacob's like, "I can prove that's mathematically proper." He was immediately defended me.
Yeah.
But the guy who opened, he actually had a fair amount of big blinds. I mean, it wasn't like he had almost 20 bigs. So it looks like and this would have been for a little more than half my stack. So it looked, but I'm pretty sure that was a plus EV shove.
Okay.
But I obviously cannot break down things mathematically. But did you actually go through some of the heads up hands? Did you like how you played heads up?
No, we didn't get to any of the heads up ones. We just did. I had 4 hands that we played together, or 3. I had a few hands that we played together with each other, and it was interesting. He found a couple of spots where he could have taken advantage of me, and then I found a few where I could have taken advantage of him.
Okay,
so it was
that was interesting.
Pretty cool.
Heads up, you had one hand that I was kind of half watching you. I remember one I liked because you ranged the guy properly. You said he had top pair, and you did like a perfect sizing for the river shove, and the guy called, and that's when you took a big decent sized chip lead. I don't know if you remember that hand. You got 3 streets of value using the whole brokest value targeting. I think. Well, at least that's how you were describing it. You're like, if I bet this and then this, then I get the river, shove. I don't know if.
Yeah, you know what? I think I had the flush. If I remember right.
Would you get the flush on the turn, or did you flop it?
I flopped it.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. And the guy obviously had a king or whatever the top one was, and you made it look like you were just kind of making scared bets, but you were actually sizing it perfectly. So you got the river shove. Anyways, that was the one hand where I like, okay, you played that perfectly.
Yeah, that was
because if you bet too much on the turn there, I think he folds, maybe, and then before he knows he's getting 2-1 on the price on the river or whatever.
Yeah.
So, or 2.5 to 1 maybe. I can't remember the hand specifically, but
yeah, I've got the hand right here. It was let's see, I'm on the button with Queen 9 suited. The blinds are 4,000, 200 ante, so the total pot is let's see, what is it?
6,400.
Okay.
What is it? What are the stats? He's got the chip lead at this point, right?
I'm sorry. The blinds are 1,000, 2,000. So the total pot is 3,400. I have a big chip lead here.
Oh, you have the chip lead at that point.
Yeah, this should have been the last hand, but I miscalculated when I made the.
I might be thinking of a different hand. The one I remember was the one where you were behind and kind of took the chip lead. But this sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah,
so you don't like the way you play this hand. You flopped a flush and didn't get all the chips in. You're saying?
Well, I left him with like 3/4 of a blind, maybe half a blind.
Okay. Well, maybe.
And I have Queen 9 of spades. I min raise on the button. He calls. Queen 9 of spades. The flop is 6 of spades, 5 of spades, 10 of spades. So my whole thing here is how do I get as many chips as humanly possible out of this?
Sure.
And he bets 4,200, and then I min raise to 8,400. Then he calls. The turn is an 8 of hearts, and he checks. I bet half pot. I bet 12,600. Then he calls. Then the river's a king. He bets 2,000 at this point. He's got 30,000 behind. There's 50,000 in the pot, and he only bets 2,000.
Hmm.
And at this point, I'm thinking he has something like, this guy has ace king with the ace of spades. Like that's the only hand that's making sense to me right now. Or he's played a set really weird.
Well, ace king, he should have probably re-raised pre-flop, you'd think, but.
I would think so. But he's been playing really, really timid.
Okay.
And, basically I'm just trying to get the rest of his chips here. And I bet 30,000 because I look at his stack and he has 29, 4, 4, 8. And so I think, okay, well, if I bet 30,000, I'll get his whole stack. Well, I didn't account for the fact that he just did this stupid little bet of 2,000 on the river. So he calls and then he's got 1,448 behind. And I don't get to see what he had, but I didn't get his whole stack. So that was definitely a lesson to me. See, in this instance, I had a big chip lead, and I thought to myself, if I shove all in here, it's going to look stronger than if I just bet just enough to put him all in. So
okay.
I took the time to slide the bar over to make sure that it was enough to put him all in. Well, I can't add, and I didn't quite put him all in. So it took me 2 more hands to knock him out. But the part that I didn't like about it was I gave him a shot. You know, we've all been down in a tournament where we've had less than a big blind and we come back to win the damn thing. And I gave him that opportunity here, you know, so that was where I was kind of bummed. But
right.
You were thinking of a different hand?
No, I can't remember that. Maybe that's the hands.
You know what? I bet this
Steve,
was
I ignore you most of the time. I don't even. Yeah, I'm pretty lame that way. No, I can't remember.
You know what I think it was? It could have been this one. I had 9-10 on the button. I min raise. He calls. Then the flop comes down. Jack 8-3 rainbow, and so I got an open ender. He bets 6,000. I call. Pot's now 20,000. The turn is an 8. Pairs the board. He checks. I check behind. The river's a 7. So I pretty much have the nuts here, unless the guy's got a boat. But heads up, I'm treating this as the nuts. Then he bets out 10,000 into a 20,000 pot, and I raise it up to 30, and then he snap folds. So he must not have had anything.
I don't know. I can't. The one I'm remembering is I was thinking this is the one where you took the chip lead and took it for good, and you got a full double because of your bet sizing. But I could be misremembering it. I don't know.
Okay.
To quote Roger Clemens. Okay, well, we can listen with histrionics. So I final tabled the big 150K on merge for the 6th time, and I've got 2/3, 2/6, a 9th, and now a 5th. So I don't know if I should brag that I guess it was a decent score. And it was interesting. For the first time, I had a couple of people railing me.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's considered taboo. There's the expression "someone's ghosting you," where they're giving you advice, and this was not. Since I don't think anybody here was much better than anyone else, so I was kind of following well, there's definitely a couple times, I think 2 hands where Jacob convinced me to do something different, which I thought was interesting. Like I was going to insta call, if you remember when I had the top pair with the king 8, I had a king.
Yeah.
And the guy bet ridiculously small on the river, 60,000. So I had to call 60,000 to win 271,000.
Yeah.
And Jacob's like, hold on, use your clock. And somehow the guy was convincing me that he convinced me that I think somehow I just felt like, yeah, it's right. Like the guy just wouldn't be, the white guy wouldn't be, he could have been trying to blocking bet with ace queen, second pair. I thought that was, I tripled up like two hands later with aces. So I want to say then definitely it was the right fold. But it seems so ridiculous to get for that price to fold top pair.
When I remember that hand though, and as we were going through it, it was kind of like, what is he betting there that you can beat? And after going through almost all of it, it was like, I don't think there's, I think he's got you,
It's either fold or, I don't know. It feels weakish, though. It feels like the classical blocking bet, but maybe it's not. Maybe he's got a set, and he's got me ranged properly. Oh, I'm looking at this thing here. There was only 3 to a flush there. Anyways, that one, I don't know if we have to go in, but that was like the first time where I'd ever had that experience where someone's watching me play and convinced me I've always been totally on my own here. So I thought that was kind of an interesting one. The one hand you'd think of all the hands we played last night, because there was a couple times where you guys were like, don't do it, where I was 3-betting and yes. You guys were both begging me at least not to c-bet. I'm like, fuck you. If I'm 3-betting, I got to make a shot at it, and I'd c-bet, and someone would immediately jam on me. But I will defend those. But the one hand, not to, where I think if you guys weren't watching me, I would have played it differently.
Yeah.
And what it could have been, the one hand where, because I was sort of getting, not criticized, but you guys were like, I'm pushing some pretty either narrow edges or non-edges.
They were pretty narrow edges, yeah. On some of them, I was just like, bro, you have queen 2 offsuit. Like,
well,
it's not a 3-bet. Like, wait till you have at least like 7-8 suited or something.
We can do a hand history of my last 40K I won, and believe me, sometimes you just run a table over. And this table had some very deceptive stats. They looked really tight. Like 17, 10, kind of, but no, there was definitely and I didn't know any of these players, but they were better than I knew. But the one that kind of really was getting in my craw, because I'm like, I would have been jamming here, is if we want to go over it quickly, 6 left in the tournament. I'm sorry, 7 players left in the tournament.
Yeah, you're at the final.
I am second in chips. The leader, Staircase 39, has 1.9 million, and I have just under 1.3 million. And then, we got 5 other players. So, and it's funny because this is the hand you both applauded. I was kind of pissed off, and you both applauded. It's like, listen, guy, most people would have gone busto that hand.
Yeah.
You'll probably know what hand I'm talking about here.
Yep.
Under the gun, the big stack raises, and I am 2 to his left, middle position.
What are the blinds?
The blinds are 20,000, 40,000. Okay, so 20, the chip leader has about 48 big blinds, and I have 32 big blinds.
Okay.
And he min raises to 80,000 from under the gun, and I had pocket jacks, 2 to his left.
Yeah, you were in middle position, right?
Yep. So right away, my theory is. I want to see 3 cards here. And if some reason, if anybody else shoves from behind and he shoves, obviously I'm going to snap anybody else from behind, snap call anyone else who shoves. And then, if they got me beat, they got me beat. But this is one of those hands we've played many times. The under the gun guy, even 7-handed, probably has a pretty strong range. And though and he's probably not, you hate to have to 3-bet fold pocket jacks. So anyways, I just call.
Yeah, and how many bigs did you have? 30?
33 or 32.
Okay.
And the big blind also calls, another 40,000. Titty Sprinkles,
yes.
the name we hit, and the guy who won the tournament, which is like we looked him up.
Oh, he ended up winning?
It's the most fascinating guy ever. He has his average buy-in's like $11. He's played this $200 tournament from what we can tell like 3 times, and once came in first and one came in third, and I don't know but he loves those $2 and $5 tournaments, man. But anyways, so we go to the flop with 288,000 in chips.
In the pot.
Yes. And it's 6 king 4 is the flop, and 6 and the 4 I believe are clubs. Yeah, and it's a king of diamonds. And staircase checks to me.
The
original raiser.
What did the big blind do? He checked, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember this one. I remember thinking, well, at the time I was like, too bad there's a king out there. But yeah, having him check you checked behind, if I remember right?
No, I bet. I'm like, well, let's get him to fold his ace queen and his pocket eights maybe or whatever.
Okay.
And kind of see where we're at. He might check raise with pocket. I think he's c-betting, especially with 2 clubs on board. He's c-betting aces and ace king right away.
Okay.
So I bet a little less than half pot, 133,999 chips. And Titty Sprinkles folds. And Staircase 39 calls.
Okay.
And right away I called his hand. I said, he's got queens.
Or tens. You said queens or tens.
Well, I said queens or tens.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, hopefully let's just go to showdown cheap here. And the turn is the 8 of diamonds. So we now have 2 flush draws out there, and there's 555,998 in the pot. He checks. Do you bet here? This might have been the mistake here. I don't know. If I bet again, he's got a lot of chips. I think if I bet real big, like I said, he doesn't have a king. I mean, he could have king queen, I suppose, and be worried about ace king. But I think if I put in 295,000 or something there, if I put in 60% pot, maybe even a little more, maybe 340K. I think he's folding. But
I'm being results oriented here, but yeah, I think he's folding.
So he checks, and I check behind.
Yeah.
And the river is the 5 of hearts. And he bets 168,125 into a 556,000 pot. So he is betting pretty much 30% a pot. Yeah.
What did he bet? 168?
He's betting less than 33% pot. I mean, this is never to induce. This is always a blocking bet, and he always has queens or tens.
Yeah.
And I made the decision fairly quickly. I'm like, I should be jamming here. But you guys had already seen me spew a few times. So if I jam, I'm convinced he folds 90% of the time. I mean, he could put me on a miss flush. I mean, maybe I save money because, I don't know. I could have dusted off, but like it's just screaming. I can't min raise there. Obviously, I've got to shove it all in, and because there's a miss flush draw, maybe he finds a call. But the guy's got 1.9 million chips at this point. He only has 350,000 in there. So even if he folded and I won the pot, I would have taken the chip lead by like 30,000 chips. But there's 4 stacks with under 20 big blinds. I don't know. I just know if it wasn't those previous, I know if I was playing alone, I would have shoved. It'd be interesting. I mean, maybe Jacob. But if he calls too, without even knowing his hand, I think half of his calls are with pocket tens, as many as there are with queens, because they're the same hand right there. I mean, I guess he could say that he's got jacks. I beat jacks, but my bet looks so polarized. It either looks like I got him crushed with a ace king, or I've missed my draw. So
I think you bet ace king on the turn though.
Yeah.
If you're gonna rip the river, I think you gotta. Looking back at it now,
that is a line I take a lot, which is to bet the flop and check the turn with my strongest hands.
Yeah, but when you got 2 draws out there.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
you got 2 clubs, 2 diamonds. I think ace king. You got to bet there because he could have 2 draws.
Well, I think,
even aces.
I think betting the turn is. But when he bets that size on the river, I mean, we know his hand, right?
Yeah.
If he bets ace king, he's going for a little more value here. If for some reason he was like getting nervous with ace king a little bit because he's like, okay, I'm going against the big stack. The other big stack. Maybe he has a set. I don't think so. I mean, and the point is, my bet at the end looks so polarized. It looks like nothing, or I have it. I think, like I said, he literally has nothing but like nines, tens, or queens. I think actually it's kind of the old merged betting where he actually might find if he calls, I think we're not even in horrible shape against his calling range. I think we beat it 2/3. I think it's a plus EV shove. I'm pretty sure. Jacob could agree. But anyways, that's the hand. Like I said, I made a couple. I three bet. I squeezed from the small blind with queen 4, and I also squeezed from the button with ace deuce, and both those times C bet and lost chips. And I don't know. And we could discuss. I don't know if my bust out hand really is. I don't think we can get too angry. The other one I definitely would have done different. I don't know.
No, let's go over your bust out hand. That was an interesting one.
Let's see if I can find it. It was pretty.
Should be the last one.
Well, no, yeah, I know. We know that one. Yeah, okay. I have 826,000 in chips right now. There's Staircase 39 had. Well, it's still only 40,000 for the big blind. So I've got almost 21 bigs.
Yeah.
And so 5 people post the ante of 4,000, and there's small blind, big blind. I'm in the cutoff. No, I'm sorry. I'm on the button. And so there's only, it folds around to me. So there's, let's see, 20,000. There's only 80,000 in the pot.
Okay.
So is this an overshove? I don't know. It's only a 10% bump to my stack. I mean, I think it's pretty standard. Maybe with pocket sevens, do you raise, fold? The big blind is the one who we played a lot of hands with him when we were like 12-handed.
Yeah.
I'm OU, whatever he is, that,
yeah.
If you remember. So if you min raise, you hate for him shoving with, king 10 and you having to fold. Unless you're planning to call it up. Jacob said he would raise call here. He would not be folding.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
I mean, pocket sevens on the button against. But afterwards, you shove, and this guy, he had pocket aces, and was obviously in terrible shape and didn't get there. So I don't know, but it just seems like so many chips to go in there to win only 80,000 chips. Just seems, if the cutoff, min raise is like I'm, hop, skip, and a jump shoving it in there. You know what I mean?
So what was the small blind and big blind stack?
Small blind had 681,000, so I had him covered. He had 17 bigs.
Yeah.
And the big blind did have a lot of chips, 1.6 million, 40 chips. Although,
so he's got 40 bigs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how wide he's calling there. I think he's probably calling. I think he's folding maybe ace 10 suited or better. Pocket fives are better. I mean, we're probably maybe a couple Broadway combinations. King jack suited, king queen. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. So to recap, you've got 7-7 in the on the button. You've got over 800K. The blinds are 20,000, 40,000. So you got 21 bigs.
Right.
You open shove into the small blind, who's got 681. You've got him covered, and the big blind, who has more than twice your chips. And
a little less than twice, but yeah, basically twice. Yeah.
Basically twice your chips. Okay. My thought was on this one that you raise, call it off. I was in the same boat as Jacob, and the reason for that is if you just open shove, I think you're getting called more often by hands that beat you. And it's tough to say here because he had the best hand possible. He had pocket aces, but I think he's calling there with things like ace 10 plus.
Right. He's folding pocket deuces to a shove, but
exactly
reshoving to a I understand.
Exactly. There's a few hands there where if you min raise and he shoves, you're ahead. He's going to shove probably 2s and 3s there, 4s, 5s, and 6s.
But I don't necessarily want to flip with King 10, even though I'm ahead. You know what I mean? That's a hand he snaps folds if I shove.
Well, that's a good
point.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily like, okay, yeah, I'm inducing a little bit, but I'm not inducing 6-5 suited. I mean, even if he shoves, 10 queen suited, 10 queen off, I'm still, I don't know. I'd be curious if anybody thinks I can raise fold there. It just feels.
Well, I don't think you can raise fold. I think you're getting it in no matter what. I mean, you got pocket 7s on the button. It's tough to get a pair. It only happens, once every 17 times or something like that. My thought isn't raise folding. My thought is raise calling. So if you min raise there, so you raise to 80K, and then now he's shoving those 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s. He's probably not folding to a shove with 6s. But, you're able to now call those hands that you wouldn't. But the other side of the coin too is if you just shove it in there, is he going to call with Jack 10? I don't think so. I think he's folding.
No, he's definitely folding Jack 10.
Is he, going to call with Queen 10 suited? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know. If I put myself in his spot, what am I calling with? I hate calling with crappy aces, even though there's a bunch of Broadway hands in that guy's range. If I'm him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm definitely folding 2s, 3s, or 4s. 5s would be the worst pair I might call with. I'm definitely calling with 6s. I don't know. It's tough. It sucked. Like I said, I thought it was going to be my night. Like I said, we saw that I was just, I think I flopped. I looked at my last 100 hands. I think I might have flopped 5 sets.
Wow.
or something.
Wow.
I mean, like you said, I'm only supposed to get 6 pairs in that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think once or twice, I might have got cooler. I can't remember. I mean, more the only time, I was getting some suck outs, but it was when I had more chips. The one suck out I had for my tournament life was reshoving ace jack. The guy had ace king. We flopped a jack. But, and the funny thing, like I told, I've just been, again, I've said, until I'm paid for merge, every time I come on, I'm going to say something about Carbon Poker not paying us.
Yeah.
So but, it was like I told you, it was like you were, Steve Knittington watching me play last night was in a panic every time because I rebought like 7 or 8 times for this thing, including, and it's like Monopoly money. I normally don't, but I didn't give a shit. So sadly, this $6,000 score over the last 2 days, I'm only up like $1,200 or something.
Oh wow!
Because and I almost bought into the super high roll, the 531 with 10 big blinds. You're like, please don't. Mm-hmm. Like it was almost like I was cutting off my finger in front of you. You're like, no, I can't look at this. So it's kind of, it's good and it sucks. But like I said, until I get paid by Carbon Poker, it's all freaking Monopoly money. I actually made that post, and they missed the guarantee in this thing by, I think, $21,000.
Wow.
So, like, this whole thing where if Carbon Poker, if they're missing their guarantees now and having it not making money, I did like the calculations with the $15 they are getting for all the entries they got. That's a little over 10 grand, but that doesn't cover they lost 10 grand last night on this tournament. It does not bode well for getting paid from these people. I don't know, I just don't see it. We've already covered all that, but like I said, it's just, even if I won the thing, I would have been just like half ticked off. I'm like, these bastards better send me some money here. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I wait for the episode when you're like, Steve, I got a check in the mail. It happened.
I know. No, me, I'll still be ticked off. I'm like, but from now on, I'll be waiting 10 weeks for every check. So it doesn't even matter. I can't, like I said, this is, we'll go back to we know I came out here with a horrible game plan for being a poker pro and just, game selection, bankroll management. I mean, everything was an F. But I told myself, worst came to worst, I'll go get a minimum wage job, and I'll be able to grind online the American sites, and I can just kind of guarantee that $2,000 to $3,000 every month, which keeps me afloat. And you take that out of the equation, and I'm in trouble here. But we will see what happens with that. I'm trying to see if there's any other interesting hands from last night. What was the one where he was just begging me not to c-bet? I don't know. When you 3-bet, it's just hard to give up. I mean, on a hand.
Yeah.
And I think my read on these guys was, I don't know. This basically, we've. I've
got an interesting one here.
Okay. Well, yeah. I was going to say, let's pass the.
I think. Well,
let me
ask you.
I had fun with Jennifer Harmon last week talking about how I banged college girls when I was 40 and talking about Match.com dates. I mean, I really don't even want to talk about poker hands anymore, Steve. I got to be honest. I'd rather just rant on other issues. But for the moment, anyways, this is a poker show. And even though poker is now, like I said, is hopefully going to be playing a much less prominent role in my life. Do you watch The Simpsons at all?
Yeah. I used to watch them all the time.
One of their best lines is from Homer's talking, and I forget what the episode's about. But he's like, alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. So it's like poker is kind of just fuck me up beyond belief here, sort of. Well, I said, I've actually done the math, and I've actually broken even over 6 months, but it's just, with cost of living, it's just gone down. But but it seems like the only way I can get out of this and sort of make some kind of middle-class living, and the only skill I have is poker here. So hopefully we get legal poker in California soon, and hopefully I get the damn $22,000 for merge. I'm really gonna.
I think Jacob had a good point. Just stop playing on merge,
right?
And look at that as either you're getting it or you're not. And it could take them almost a year to pay you, or
never.
But I wouldn't invest any more money.
I'm never going to deposit on there again.
Well, no, I feel like even playing on there is kind of rearranging chairs on a sinking ship. You don't even know if it's going to happen.
Right.
So you could just be completely wasting your time. And just start playing on Bovada and the winning.
Yeah, I mean, my online tournament hourly is probably like $30 an hour, maybe a little more. So, 22,000 is, that's over 700 hours of my time that I gave up. But like I told you, I'm really sticking to the no more deposits online. I still have 1,400 on Bovada. It's time for me to Steve Niddington it up and just do the lower buy-ins and try to.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think you could play $20 and $30 tournaments on winning and Bovada, and if you can stick to that bankroll, and don't look at $1,400 like I have 7 buy-ins to a $200 tournament. Look at it like I've got 50 buy-ins to these medium-sized tournaments.
Well, if I look at it like this is the very end of my bankroll, then I think I can maybe pass that test. But I got a lady visiting me tomorrow, so I'll be playing no poker for a week, which is definitely the longest stretch I've gone without playing poker in at least 6 months. So I'm actually very excited about that.
Yeah, that might be the best thing you need.
And I'm definitely. I think I told you about the. I'm definitely done with live poker. Like I said, I have 2 separate checking accounts. And one of them has about $560 in it. And when that has, somehow, if that one has $15,000 again, I'm going to play live. Right now, I don't even know how that's possible, unless I pull a Carlos Welch and, win a big tournament on. But even if I get the merge money, that's going to be just to squeak by and pay the bills. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
So I'd like to play live, but in defense, I just want to make one final statement about. I mean, it's like I really do not dwell over the bad beats. I dwell over the hands I fuck up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
although you've heard me bitch a lot about bad beats, but if I'm done with poker, sort of, we'll see. If for some reason I just don't get the merge money and I lose my money in Bovada, I have not played great poker. We talked about butt of hands, but it's been 6 months of really run bad. I mean, I was telling you about the hand. I don't think we talked about it here, where I flopped 2 pair, and the guy turned to set. I mean, I raised big in the set. I mean, this was like $3,000 buy-in, and like just the other day, I immediately lost like an $1,100 pot when I sat down when I had queens, and the guy shoved, and I put him on a draw, and of course he had a flush draw and got there. And then I finally left when I hit a set of sevens, and it was looked like a good board for queens. And I think if I had run true, when I got my money in good, I think with all the hours I put, we're talking about I'm making $25 or $30 an hour in that game, which isn't great. Like a top pro probably at this game where you can buy him for $1,500 probably makes $80, $90 an hour.
Yeah.
A decent pro can make 50. Obviously, there's break even and stuff, but which is not good enough for me to make a living at poker. So I had overestimated my talents, to be sure, or certainly needed to put a lot more effort and studying and planning it before I'm playing cash. But I'm a little bit defensive here because this shows. I mean, it exposes my ignorance quite a bit here. And I think, I haven't gone back to listen to the first episodes if I was really confident in I think I never even spoke. I like to say I was an aspiring pro, or people would ask me, I said, well, I've got some money saved up. I'm just going to play poker for a while before I get a job, is what I would say to live people. But in defense, when I look back, if this is like sort of, if I'm easing out of poker here, I don't know if that's true or not. We'll have to see. But I don't think it looks like an absolute unmitigated failure, my effort here. And I do think luck has played a really, like I said, 18 straight tournaments bricking or whatever. It's just like, I mean, my tournament game is really good. You know what I mean? And that's not a huge amount. I understand that. So if you can't,
I wouldn't look at it as a failure. I think, the way I look at failure is, like you have a goal in mind and you know where you want to be. And in order to get to where you want to be, it's only going to happen that you're going to have to fail along the way. You're going to try one option and that's not going to work. And then you're going to try something else and that's not going to work. And I think we as human beings, we invent this idea of failure in our mind and we look at it like, well, I'm here at point A and I want to get to point B and I tried this one option and it didn't work. So I failed. Then I tried this second option and that didn't work. So I failed. And then I tried this third option. Oh, that one worked. Well, if you're not resilient and you don't go through those first 2 options before you get to the third one and you get there, you get discouraged after 2 times and you quit. I think failure is a good thing. I think it's it's necessary in order to get to where you want to be. So I wouldn't look at it as a failure. I would look at it like you tried several things and they didn't work. Take a step back, look at it, evaluate it and say, okay, well, I did this, that didn't work. I did this, that didn't work. I had some success over here. What was I doing different this time that allowed me to get a little bit further?
I think Carl Jung, famous psychologist, if I remember the anecdote properly, he was like teaching a class and some student came in from a rugby game and he's like, did you have a triumphant loss or did you suffer a victory? His whole view that the losers like develop character, inspiration, or psychological health or something. I can't remember exactly, but well, Steve, realistically, I know I'm Mr. Negativity, but this will be my only run at being a poker pro. I think we'll see. I mean, I still have the bug, and I still, like I said, I want to have a bankroll and go to the World Series, but realistically, I'm a 44-year-old dude. Like right now. If I can get that job for whatever $35,000 a year in benefits, I cannot pull this shit again and leave my job. It's just not an option. You know what I mean? So I feel like I've only really had one shot to be a pro. I mean, I can kind of do what you do. I mean, when I'm 65 or whatever, have the money sit. If for some reason I'm not married or where I can. I don't know. I mean, this is just the reality of my situation. You need money. And, I mean, I don't know. We'll never know. Like I said, I haven't totally given up the plan just because I have that poker checking account And if I got the money for merge, it'd be great if every $2,500 I can take $200 out and put it in this checking account and save it. And you never know, I might run it up in Bovada. But I would need a lot of money before I would even consider giving up a job, assuming I get a job. I mean, if the best job I get is minimum wage, then that's a different story. And if for some reason, online poker becomes in California and I just start killing it and make a couple $100,000 the first year, then I'll be like, okay, well, maybe. But well, I don't know. I mean, not to like go against all your self-help and perseverance kind of thing, but there's something to be said for just accepting your limitations too. I don't know. I don't know.
What if you were to, work your job 40 hours a week? That'll get you enough money to pay the bills.
Well, it won't actually. I'll probably have to grind to pay the bills. We'll see.
Well, let me ask you this: what are you doing now? What are you doing now that you could cut your expenses? I know we were talking the other day, and you said you're paying $60 a month for a membership to the Y that you don't even use.
No, there's a lot of things. I mean, I eat out all the time. Like I said,
that's a big one.
For a couple of years there, I was living. I was paying $650 a month rent, and I was making $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
For 3 years or 2.5 years, I was making $40,000 a year playing poker. And
remember, for every dollar that you save, it's the same as making a dollar.
Right.
So the $60 right there that you're spending on the Y that you don't use, that's $60 a month right there.
Right.
For a car, if you have a loan or a lease on a car, fucking get rid of that, and then just buy a car for $2,000. That's it. Now you got a car.
Right. No,
for all
right.
These little things, like every time you eat out and you spend $7 or whatever for breakfast, if you go to Costco and you spend $200 for the month and all your food is at home, you eat before you leave the house and then you eat when you get back, that is a huge savings. I mean, you're going from saving $5 a meal every single time right there. And you got to think, you got to eat 3 times a day. So that's $15 a day times 30 days. This shit adds up.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. That's such a, I need a wife. I just hand her the credit cards and she gives me $6 a day and says, you better not get 2 pieces of beef jerky, douchebag.
That's another one. Make your own beef jerky.
Yeah,
beef jerky is
option.
The biggest freaking ripoff. Oh my God. Jack Links has that market handled because you can go and buy 5 or 6 pounds of beef jerky, or you can make your own for 1/10 the cost. There's all these little areas that you could save so much money. And when you think about it, if you don't spend it, it's the same as making it.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. I think we had a similar conversation. I compared you to my brother. We've always made similar amounts of money, but he's got investments and a lot of money. Owns a house and blah blah blah. And he was always like, we went out to dinner once and just like we got a Budweiser for $4. He's like, you know what a case of Budweiser costs? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I know, but this business has expenses. They got to pay for this shit. I'm like, I like sitting at a bar and eating and flirting with a waitress or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, there's definitely. I mean, just if I refuse to eat out, right there, that's $600 a month.
Yeah,
saved at least. But I'm back to. Have to be back to that. I'll have to, like, right now. I mean, I can't remember the last. I don't care how much I pay for gas. Oh, that's ridiculous. Now I started paying attention. It can be like a difference between 40 cents within like a 3-mile radius. I mean, I don't know how it is that way, but
yeah. They have a better location, I guess. They're making money.
I don't know. Yeah, well, that might be an exaggeration, but pretty wide discrepancies depending on which part of town you're in, or the difference between Encinitas and Oceanside, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, so once again, I've stolen this for you to offer a little therapy. But I did want to, because, I don't know, like we had this conversation. Maybe we can even, like, where I kind of wanted just to stop doing this because I feel like a fool with a poker podcast when I'm a losing poker player. But I still contribute something in the entertainment realm. And like I said, now I'm being a little defensive. I'm like, I'm a pretty darn good poker player when it comes to tournaments at the very least. And these, these online big semi-big buy-ins, 200, 500. These are pros I'm playing against.
Yeah.
And I've got a nice ROI in these even the higher buy-ins. So I'm feeling kind of defensive. Cash, obviously, I'm mediocre, but even then, it's just like so many ridiculous bad beats, which I'm not going to go over. But
well, no, I think you're a great player. I think your Achilles heel is just bankroll.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, all you got to run. I mean, the limits that you're playing, like you just have a bad run of 10 tournaments and you could be out.
No, I mean, that's what happened. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, I forget. I was talking to one pro. He's like, if you can't afford to brick 20 straight tournaments, you just are not properly bankrolled.
Yeah.
Which is pretty statement, and the same with cash. And so, yeah, I probably should have been playing lower limits and getting used to the cash. But, you know what I mean? I mean, just like, I'll think about it, like literally like the two big hands that I've talked about several times that I lost that were $8,000 hands. That's pretty much a year's salary for me now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous when I think of but I don't know. Anyways, you had well, this is fun, obviously, so I have no intention of, ending this right now. But I do feel, I do think from the beginning I kind of qualified it that like I'm a guy trying to be a pro. And that was what I thought should be the focus of the show, is kind of the grinders on the sort of the bottom end of the feed chain who are finding a way to survive.
Yeah, I think this is more a show about two guys that are trying to make it. Two guys that are, I'm trying to transition from my career now into this, and you took your shot, and I wouldn't say you didn't make it. It's just taking you a lot longer than you thought it would.
I'm not giving up on poker here, I don't think. But like if I don't get, like I said, I'll repeat what I said for the billionth time. If I lose the Bovada money and the merge money doesn't come in, I'm going to be done for a while because I just can't deposit again on these sites. I refuse to. And anyway, Steve, you had a hand we were going to discuss.
I do.
Thank you for being such a good listener.
That's right. I provide a good shoulder.
Were you weren't the firstborn son, were you?
I was.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. By the way, I just want to make sure, were you and Jacob, I have a Nixolite, were you guys conspiring against me while I was out of this call? Was
No.
Jacob trying to convince you that, no, I'm joking. I'm totally joking here.
Okay.
You were very defensive there, Steve.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
How dare you, sir? I know there was a conversation was flowing. You're like, you know what?
I was missing you
You
actually
were
quite
like,
a bit.
You were probably like, this guy's a good listener. He's not interrupting me like Mike is. This is so pleasant. If Mike just dies in an exploding silo accident, then I can have a new partner. Okay, just checking.
I was missing you quite a bit because I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, there's a lot of calculations and a lot that's going on right now that I could really use Mike's banter right now.
Just Mike's simple-minded, shove it in. And
Exactly. Just raise, you'll win. Okay, on to the hand. I think this, I won't give any more away. I'll just see what you think here. Okay.
Is this from a tournament? The recent tournament?
This was the one that which one is this? Oh, this is the one that I won, that Jacob and I were in.
Okay.
And we're about halfway through the tournament. I think we're down to the final two tables, which isn't saying much because we only started with like 30 or 40 people.
How many people were in this tournament?
I think it was either 30 or 40. I thought it was 30. Jacob said 40.
Sake.
So
I'm taking back my congratulations.
Yeah,
this isn't a tournament. This is a big sit and go, for God's sakes.
This is basically a 3 or 4 table sit and go, yeah. But not much more than that.
No, I'm just...
But I'm in the small blind. The blinds are 200, 400. And the cutoff raises all in. He's got 7 bigs. The button has 42 bigs. I've got 89 bigs in the small blind. And the big blind has 16 bigs. So he shoves all in from the cutoff for 7 bigs. The button folds. And I'm in the small blind with ace 4 off.
Call, and you got to fold to the reshove.
Okay, so if I call here, before he shoves, there's let's see, there's 1,000 in the pot before he shoves. Now he shoves for 26.82, so he shoves for, very little, 7 bigs.
It's 21.82 more for you, yeah.
Yeah, 21.82 more for me. No, I'm sorry, it's 24.82 more for me because I'm in the small blind. But the big blind has 16 bigs.
Oh, 16 bigs. Okay, I thought I was thinking you had 30-something bigs.
Okay.
What do you have? You got 68 bigs or something?
89.
Yeah, I'm reshoving there. I mean, if he's on a random hand. I mean, the ace rag crushes the random hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than pairs and aces, you're ahead of everything.
Now, what about the big blind? Are you worried about him?
No, that's what I'm talking about. The big blind. I would just reshove here.
Okay, you just shove it in.
I would just shove it in, I think. I mean, well, if you call, you can't fold. I guess you could say the call maybe is even stronger than the shove to his perspective, because you might be, he's worried you're trying to get him in deuce. And then, but I would shove. I think that's, you're ahead of the, I guess for some reason, if the guy with 7 big blinds has been like ridiculously nitty, if you've seen him fold 17 straight hands, then his range probably beats ace 4. Actually, I guess you could think about that. I mean, depending on who he is. But basically, yeah, you're ahead of both their ranges.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the range of the big blind by whatever random hand he has. And if the big blind might even be willing to call with hands he's behind, he might be calling King 10 suited. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I would. I'm leaning towards reshoving is the optimal play there.
Okay.
But again, like if for some reason, 7 big blinds is not a lot at all. But like typically, like even if I've got like ace 7 off in the big blind, just to rearrange the stacks again. Even if I had like 80 something big blinds, maybe not even from the cutoff, maybe. I just hate calling, like, regardless of how many chips I have, I hate calling shoves with crappy aces kind of thing. But here he's so short. I think you have to, but.
Okay.
So what did you do?
Well, I think I took the worst option. I folded. And I'm looking back now. I'm not sure why I did that. I don't know what was. I'm looking at the hands before and the hands behind, and he was pretty tight. I mean, I don't have too many hands on him, but his numbers are 16-13.
Right. I mean, if he's following the charts, the shove fold charts, I mean, he's shoving ridiculously wide there. I mean,
yeah.
I think. So against his range, yeah, I'm surprised that's the move you did, but you won the tournament. So yeah, I mean, you could have easily been dominated there. Ace 4 isn't great. I mean, what is your calling range there? I mean, do you really need like ace 10 to call there?
I don't think so. I think the move right there is, like you said, either reshove so that so the big blind gets out, or maybe even call, like you said, would look stronger. I took the worst line and I folded. I don't know why I did that.
Because you're a bitch, sir. I know. I mean, actually, I got
There's something to that.
So, unfortunately, you didn't get to see the hands because the big blind folded too, right?
No, he did too.
Right. Yeah, if the stack sizes were different, just a little bit higher, if they had 9 big blinds and the big blind if the shover had 9 big blinds and the guy behind you had, say, 22.
Yeah.
With all the chips you have, I'd be like, I'll just stay out of this, just in case. Although even in that situation, it's probably again we would have to have Jacob here run the all the many calculations. But yeah, I don't know. That's It's not as bad as you flopping the third nut flush against with the killing bird. I'm like getting nervous here. I was getting nervous as he's telling the story. I'm like, dear God, he's not going to tell me he folded this hand, is he? As we try to establish ourselves as. But
I think about that one all the time, and since situations like that have come up, I've never made the same mistake again. That was yeah. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
I'm talking about how unlucky I am in cash, but this was another big hand I lost, another $1,700-$1,800 hand, probably, or maybe even more, where 3 diamonds on the flop, including the jack high, and I've got the ace of diamonds with a jack. And this guy bets, I raise, he shoves. I mean, I'd have to do that. I mean, I think it's a call. I got so many, but I'm like never.
Say that again. You got the ace of diamonds with the jack, and
yeah,
what was the board?
I got it's like jack, 7, deuce, all diamonds.
Okay. Jack.
So I've got top pair and the nut flush draw, but this guy has a set or a flush every time. And if he's got a flush, I only got 7 damn outs.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like you are capable probably of. Well, I think at this stack depth, if I can't remember the numbers, I had to call. But that's a hand you're capable of getting away with. So I mean, the fact that you think pretty deeply before, it's not simply for you. Oh, I have a strong hand, I'm going to go with it.
Well, do you think he has a set or a flush there every time?
Yeah, he does. Well, no, not necessarily. There's some hands I beat. He could have had
pocket queens or something.
He could have had queen of diamonds with a jack. I mean, I have a blocker to the jack. If for some reason he does have pocket queens with a diamond, then my ace is still good. Plus the jack is good if I get that. Yeah. So at that point, I got 13 or 14 outs, and I think I was getting 2 for 1 on my money. But I didn't even have to raise him either. He let out. He was defended from the blind. He had 6-9 of hearts or something like that. I mean 6-9 of diamonds. He flopped the flush. Yeah. And I was just like, it just feels, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just so used to 35 big blinds, I mean, you're not pot controlling there when you have top pair with the nut flush draw.
Yeah.
Where, you start off, each of you has, 150 big blinds. There's nothing wrong with controlling the size of that pot.
Yeah.
I guess, you know what I mean? So no, just I'm backing off, mocking your nittiness here because you are a winning player at cash and I am not, which was going to be the foundation of my poker success here is to become a competent cash game player. But in that spot right there you just described, you're ahead of the shover and you're ahead of the guy behind you who you've got covered massively in chips.
Yeah. I should have just calling or raising would have been the best option, and I think folding is definitely the worst.
But just we were talking about this last night with Jacob, and I just talked about my big win here. Winning my Borgata $600 tournament. Like when we were 5-handed, we started off almost all equal with chips, and by the time we were 4-handed, I had more than half the chips in play. Yeah, and it was just relentless aggression. 3-betting out of the blinds with queen deuce.
Okay.
Floating and check raising. I just was the one who didn't care whether he got knocked out or not, especially in live tournaments. People play tight. So I'm, in these online stuff. No, I was thinking about this. I don't know if you've watched Mark Aliotto's first few videos on TPE with him shipping this tournament I was in last night, the Merge Major. And I was kind of surprised how nitty he was from in a lot of, I mean, he's still, 3-betting, taking some spots, but he was he had the chip lead and he didn't raise with queen jack from the hijack. I was stunned. There was a couple spots like that. Or someone raised from middle position and he had 9 jack suited on the button and he folded. So he was really just I got a lot of chips, just let's wait for the obvious spots and wait for the hands and let people pay us off kind of thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't work once you get shorthanded and late. So I'm sure when he gets late, he's in ninja tactics kind of shit. But
yeah.
I was just watching him and I was kind of, so compared to what I did last night, which was, make a couple of real big risky moves. I just shut down my little HUD there, so I don't have the hand with me. But the one again where we won't even go over it. But basically, when I 3-bet the queen deuce, I thought both of them. That was one of the situations where you don't mind 3-bet squeezing with the utterly shitty hand because they're never flatting. It's very you're not putting yourself in a tough spot because they're always shoving or folding.
Okay.
And they both flatted.
Yeah, I remember that. That was with the queen deuce offsuit.
And maybe at their stack size, I forget. I think let's say that I had 55 big blinds and they each had like 25 or something. And somebody min raises, and I made it 6.5 big blinds or whatever in their spot. And then Jacob's like, well, how about king queen suited? I'm like, okay, king queen suited. You know what I mean? But like basically, middle pairs. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to shove them in there. And your Broadway hands, I'm folding, and probably ace jack suited or better. I'm going to be F you. This guy's doing this wide, but they both flatted, and then I had the temerity to see bet into this mess. So anyways, like I still kind of defend the move, but Jacob called it. He says no, people have a flatting range there. I'm like, well, these assholes shouldn't.
I'm raising. Don't they understand that?
Yeah. And
see, for me, in a spot like that, I would make that move with something like, just to recap for you listening, basically, one guy opened from middle position and another guy flatted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was on Mike. He was in the small blind, and he had queen deuce off, and he 3-bet to try to take it down. For me, I think I got this from Harrington on Hold'em, is he said he likes to do that with suited connectors. Something like Jack 10 suited, 10-9 suited, 8-9 suited, hands like that, where, if they call, you have something, like if you hit a deuce, you can't be happy because it's the lowest pair in the deck. If you hit a queen, you can't be happy because you got a terrible kicker. So you're kind of put in all these awkward situations. But if you got something like Jack 10 suited, you got some hope there. If the flop comes down 8-9-3, you got a pretty good hand that at least you can semi bluff with.
Well,
you can do something with.
I thought it was the other way around, where I heard for someone talking about how they like having in their 3-bet range here, total shit, or like, big hands, especially like from the small, out of position, because, the two villains in this hand, I just looked it up. I was in the small blind, and I had a pretty good chip lead here, which is, of course, makes it awful here. We're down to 12 players, and I had 806,000 chips. And Ryoga raises to 40,000, and Matt just calls the 40. And, my theory was, that the second guy was going to be, the second guy has the stronger range, but is going to be more likely to fold.
Okay.
If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because
second guy is the strongest. Okay. Yeah.
Because the first guy could be, when we're 6-handed, he could be opening fairly wide. And I figure if I can just get the first guy to fold, the second guy's definitely folding. And, but let me see. Did they both call? I can't. Okay.
I thought they both called. I could be wrong.
There was another one where it's a similar one where I 3-bet real light with ace deuce off. Ryoga under the gun raised was 10,000, 20,000, and I guess these guys are a little deeper than I'm giving. One of them has 25 big blinds, and the other one has 24.5. So they have similar stacks. But anyways, under the gun raises to 40,000, and then the big let me see. Hold on, raises to 40,000. And then the cutoff calls, and from the small, I make it, I think, pretty big. I make it 144,222. I don't know how my sizing is there. I don't know if I actually 4x'd it somehow, if I made it 166, if that would have made a difference or not. And I was wrong. They both didn't call. It was
only one call.
Only one call.
Oh, I thought both of them called.
No,
okay.
The original raise are folded. Ryoga 83, and then Magis called. So there's now 360,000 in the pot, 360,444, and we get a horrible flop, Ace Jack 4, and I check. Right there, I guess, I don't know, I guess I'm capping my range, although with Ace King, I would definitely be checking.
Yeah, I think you'd check with an ace there.
I'd be checking quite a bit. I check and he checks behind, and I think this is where Jacob's like, don't c-bet, just give up on the damn hand, minimize the damage.
Yeah.
And but no, on the turn I bet, and here I could have definitely bet smaller, I guess too. I bet 155,222, which is still, under half pot. Pretty I mean, I guess it's about right. And he called, and I've got the turn was a 6. I mean, I have absolutely nothing here. Yeah. The queen perhaps can save me if somehow he has king jack. But I think he's got an ace pretty much every time here at this point. Yeah. And obviously now I'm finally in give up mode. Although I think I might have even still been having the conversation. I mean, if I shove, does he fold here?
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And Jacob's like,
yes, you did say that.
No, he doesn't. No, he'd be getting like 4-1 in his money or something. So I check, and he shoves the river, and I fold.
Yeah.
But I gave away a little over 320,000 chips, and I was, I went from my really super healthy 41 big blinds or whatever it was, and I was, knocked back to the 25 big blinds.
25 or whatever, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that move at all with like suited connectors. And I do it myself. I like that move with suited connectors, but like with, queen deuce, like, what do you do if they call?
I really thought these guys got because after, 40,000, the antes, I make it 144,000. There's now, there's already like 260,000 in the pot or something.
Yeah.
So, and they've got, if they just flat, I really thought they have shove stacks. That was my thing. And with shove stacks, I could fold to. If somebody's got, if one of those players had 12 big blinds, I'm not making the move. But they both had the perfect stack size. I still contend it's a good hand. And I don't know, Queen. I mean, I don't know. Is 8-10 suited really that great there either? I mean, if in terms of out of position, it's the same, and then I'm folding to a reshove.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't mind like the semi-polarized. I guess it's just bad. I mean, I don't know, but like I said,
well, let me ask you this. Maybe that move on the button isn't that bad, but in the small blind,
it looks stronger, doesn't it?
No, it does look stronger. That's for sure.
My 3-bet percentage was lower than it normally was. Like when I looked at maybe I don't know. I guess that was the other thing I was arguing at the time. We'd have to go back and look at the hands. I'm like, I haven't really been 3-betting a lot. That's what I was telling Jacob. He's like, yeah, but you've got a lot of chips and people are expecting you to get active because I had just chipped up and become the chip leader.
Yeah.
So that was his counter argument there. And he's like, a lot of players, they're not necessarily even watching game flow, how you go, especially if they got a HUD and know that I'm 3-betting 8%, which was probably the highest at the table. I think we had a lot of guys that were, 4 or 5% 3-betters. Anyways, that's not a hand I like lose. Like, I don't know. I'll defend that as a decent spot. Although the C-bet, I think I just got to give up.
Yeah,
I like that. That I agree with. It just give up.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, like queen deuce, like you have no hope. Like it's just
queen 3, Steve. Don't try to make me sound like an idiot.
It's not even suited. I mean, like at least with 7-8 of hearts, like you can flop something. I mean, the only thing you can really be comfortable with queen deuce is if the flop comes deuce 7. Then
7,
you're like,
7-8. I want to see a flop with though. I'd hate to raise and then get blown off it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, at least if they call, you got something. You know what I mean? Like you can.
Well,
if the flop comes down ace king 10, then you can comfortably fold. But if it comes like 4 or 5, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, something like you have some possibilities. You know what I mean? But like with these. 12 gappers or whatever the hell that is. Like you just, there's nothing really that you can do anything with, I mean, like
I don't like when you take this tone, fireman.
At least with some kind of connecting hand, like in the instance that they do call, and you still have the same decision when they shove it on you, you're not going to call with 8 high. But when they shove it on you, you're not going to call with queen deuce.
9 jack suited, I really want to see a flop. So that's why I hate to 3-bet fold. So that's why I don't mind like a super polarized 3-bet range at a position here where I've got my hands I'm definitely calling and the ones I'm definitely folding and nothing that I'm hemming and hawing over.
Well, you're not going to hem and haw over calling it all in with 8 high or jack high.
No, I said no, you're right. But I mean, like that, at least I want to see a flop with Queen 3. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. I still was thinking at their stack depth, they were either going to shove or fold, which I guess was, is a mistake. And at the time, Jacob was like, well,
maybe they're only calling there with the top of their range. I mean, maybe he had kings or aces. That could be a possibility. He could have been flatting there with aces.
Well, and the Jacob's argument at the time was Majes's flatting range is, we looked at his numbers. His flatting range is, he was like a 17-11. His flatting range is pretty strong. Yeah. So when he calls the other, but then we looked and saw that he was very active too. He got very active. So I don't know what his flatting range is. I mean, he could have been turning a value hand into a bluff on the river. He might have shoved pocket 7s there. I don't know. And it didn't really matter, obviously. Whatever he had, he was ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
Okay. Didn't even make a dent, did I?
No. I mean, you can look for better spots. Like I told you, just watching Mark's video, it's like he's just not looking for spots to jam chips down people's throat, Eventually, once you go down to 3 and 4-handed, you just got to ninja it up, and there's going to be times where you're going to be cold 4-betting. It doesn't matter what you're cold 4-betting. If some guy keeps opening every damn button or every damn cutoff, and some guy keeps 3-betting every damn, But
yeah, that's where your cards don't matter so much. That's where you're just playing patterns, and it's almost like a chess game. You're just I raise, he re-raised, I call. He checks, I bet, he folds. And then when that pattern comes up again and he breaks it, then that's where the skill comes in. That's where you got to kind of dissect it.
No, I mean, the 2 big light 3-bets I made really blew up on me, obviously. The Queen 3 and then whenever was the, I can't remember, the Ace Deuce one.
Okay.
I can't remember when that was. Oh, here's that one here. That was earlier. I don't know if you want to look at that.
Yeah, what's that one?
Somebody raises to 24,000. Someone calls with 24,000. I think we're down to 2 tables with 18 players left.
What are the blinds, like 6 and 12 or
6,000, 12,000? Yeah.
Okay.
And I have Ace Deuce off on the button. At least I'm in position here.
Okay, wait. So someone raises early position to 24K. So two bigs.
Yes.
Okay, and then what happens after that?
And then the guy from middle position, flats for 24,000. And I raised to pretty small here. These guys are getting a ridiculous good price. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't love my sizing there. But my raise is to 66,557, and both of them called.
Yeah, it's pretty small. What are their stack sizes?
Pinsky had 210,000, so he had under 20 big blinds. So again, this is one of those hands where I'm like, well, he's not going to be flatting, he's going to be shoving. And I just thought raising the under the gun, this is the Mark Alioto rule that, he loves raising the under the gun guy because it looks just so damn strong, And yeah, they both had almost exactly 20 big blinds. So I kind of like my move just again. I think I was thinking along the same lines where Ace Deuce is really easy to fold to their reshove. And they're not going to be flatting here like ever, but obviously I was wrong.
Well, I think your sizing was too small.
I don't think I was adjusting to the table properly here. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Although I think my sizing also was I was trying to make it look inducey. I mean, if I had aces, that's probably my raise size would be on the smaller side. Maybe it's better just to have a standard size, which should probably be normally it should be 4x. The bet should be.
Well, let me see. What are the antes? And what's the pot when it comes to you?
The antes are 1,200, and the blinds. So there's 18,000 in the blinds plus 10,800, 28,800 plus 48,000. I don't know, 70K or something like that. So, when I make it 66, they only have to call 42. They're getting 4-1 in a call. But I still think with their stacks, for me anyways, I don't know what I'm flatting in their spots. I mean, other than like, I might flat Jack Queen suited.
So when you raise it, it's 136K, and they only got to call 42. Yeah, that's. I might just fold there. Because
folding is yeah. I mean, it's raise or fold. You're never flatting there.
Well, see, even if you raise that, they only got 20 bigs. So for you to raise and to have them fold, you got to raise more than 66. And
I thought that raise is saying I'm committed to this pot. Are you going to? Obviously, I was. I mean, I think maybe these two final tables are weaker. I mean, frankly, I don't. It doesn't matter what pot odds I'm getting in my mind. If they're going, especially if they're going to be flop dependent. I mean, are you personally with 20 big blinds when someone does that raise going to say, "Well, I'm getting a good price with my ace jack off. I'll just call"?
No, I'd shove it or fold.
Exactly. What hand are you flatting there? King, queen suited.
I'm flatting aces.
Aces and kings.
Aces, kings.
But even those, I mean, if you're the under the gun raiser, you don't want the other guy to call face aces with two players where someone could flop two pair on you. And once the first player calls, the second player should be shoving if he's got aces or kings. So I don't know. I mean, the other, I think these are weaker final two tables, quite frankly, who are not playing. But I was not adjusting.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's supposed to be a spot where it almost doesn't matter what the chip stack, how much I'm in. I'm telling them, this is it. There's 18 players left. You got a chance to win 30,000. You've got to make a decision for your tournament life here. So that's something you're supposed to. You can, the big stack can. I mean, I wasn't. Where was I on this time? I was only third on the table in chips, or fourth on the table in chips. So I wasn't
covered though.
But I had these two guys doubled. So I mean, I looked at their stack sizes and I said, these are the two perfect guys to do this to. I can make a small investment, a very small investment of, 15% of my stack, whatever it is, and they've got to shove or fold. And I don't know, the poker. They say you got to totally. If you're not totally poker's constantly changing, and if you don't pay attention for 6 months, you're way behind. So maybe this is archaic thought here, where these players are supposed to be shoving here and making it very simple for me. But like I said, it's just, I think it's weird to flat unless you're just, and once they flat, and there's now 185,000 in the pot, they're both of them have a stack to pot ratio of a 1-to-1 or a little less than 1. So I don't know. It's just strange to me. I don't know. I think this move was fine. And 9-handed under the gun, the guy's probably in a tight range, which is fine. So, go ahead and shove on me. Or no, I'm sorry. The original raiser was under the gun. Noctis under the gun had 233,000. So he had under 20 big blinds, 19 big blinds. And it looks really strong here. I mean, I'm raising an under the gun guy and anyways, I was once again, why the hell I'm c-betting.
I think it's a fold there, Mike. I think folding ace deuce off. You do have position, so I'll give you that. But yeah, I mean, see, the thing here is if you raise bigger so that they actually have the odds to fold. Like, let's say you raise to 100.
But if I raise to 100,
if you raise to 100 and they shove, then
I'm committed to their shove.
Then you're committed to their shove, and you don't want to call that off with ace deuce offsuit. I think that's where
the more I look at it, I played this hand really well. It's the perfect sizing. These are idiots. They're supposed to know that that this is a decision for their life, and both of them are kind of skittish over it. And like, well, let's flat and hope we get lucky. And again, a couple of flop dependent nits. I mean, again, it probably, yeah. I just have to give up and not c-bet. But I don't
even think it's a raise. I don't think it's a call.
I know you don't like it. No, it's definitely not a call. But I think it's Well, Jacob was defended. He's like, oh, this is a sexy spot. I mean, I already knew I was 3-betting. So he liked the 3-bet. But he was like, don't even bother with c-betting. And of course I put my 40% bet in there, and one of them immediately jammed. And then I actually waited a little bit. I'm like, wait a second here. I said, I'm getting damn 5-1 on a call. I only need, 17%. Is there any chance they got 10 king or they got a flush draw? I mean, do I have to? He's like, no, you are beat. You've got to save those chips. You know what I mean? So I didn't think it was, but it was interesting. At that point, there was 341,000 in the pot. And,
what was the flop?
The flop was Jack 3 Queen. I mean, I've got no 10 King is the only hand that I'm beat. I mean, even if for some reason he's got like an ace, somehow it's a bigger ace. If he's got ace 10 and he's shoving the gutter ball, he still has me crushed there. Like 10 King is literally, or for some reason he has like 8-9 of hearts,
9-10 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, which again is like just like an absurd. Well, it's not an absurd flat if the first guy flats. You know what I mean? Then you're getting like 6-1 on your money, but I still think it was a really this was a good move on my part. It was a good bet size. It was a good spot, and like it just didn't work out. So I'll make this move 100 times and be content with it. But again, I get real stubborn with those C bets where once I 3-bet, I ain't giving up.
Well, maybe I'm off then. I in that spot I would fold. I feel like. Well, although I'm running through all these hands that I hear
against this table. Yeah, I mean, I against this table and the next one, I think just being less active would probably be the optimal strategy. Just own them with bet sizing when I have hands. You know what I mean?
See, they got 20 big blinds. Now, if they had 25, I like it, but they got 20, and well, actually, even one of them has less than that, and that kind of makes me feel like. I
like it better with 20 than 20. If 25, they can flat, especially with the smaller size. Here with my bet, they are supposed to be shoving or folding, I think. But now I don't know what I mean.
Well, see, if you raise to, let's say, 90 or 100 when they have 25, then now I feel like they have to. They got to either shove or fold.
They do, obviously, but I want to be able to fold. This is the bet. This is the size I have to make it if to fold. Otherwise, I'm just getting too great a price. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're probably more people than not would agree with you. I still think it's a good spot. I got the blocker. And again, we're deep in a tournament where guys just don't want to get knocked out. Their ranges are going to be usually tighter for shoving it in. And I like it better with 20 big blinds because in my mind they're never flatting there. I mean, what the hell is the guy? Somebody raises from early position, you're calling. They've already. I mean, in your mind, you've already. What am I going to do if I'm 3-betting? And the guy's, well, I can flat and hope to get lucky. I can put a third of my chips in there, and then just if I miss the flop, preserve my 13 big blinds.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would be. Like I said, I don't know what I mean, yeah, I almost like 3-betting there more with ace deuce than ace 10. At least to my mind there, because like ace 10, it just doesn't flop great. And I have to call the reshove with ace 10 because it's too strong.
Yeah.
But ace deuce I thought was perfect because I raise, and then one of these guys shoves, and oh, well, thank you, that's fine. I took a shot. I bet 66,000 to win whatever it would be in the pot at that time, to win probably 75,000. It only does not even have to work 50% of the time to make that a profitable play.
Yeah. Now, what if you raise to 80?
I'm still at this point. If I don't know if I raise to 80, how much that increases their chances of. I mean, I guess I don't know. If 80,000, if I raised 80,000 and Pinsky Pinsky shoves for 210,000. I'd have to do the math, but I think I still got a call there. I don't know. I perform so poorly against his reshove range. I guess I can fold, and then maybe there's a little bit chance of, because 80,000 definitely looks different, I guess, to them. I mean, where they really should be shoving or folding. But
maybe these guys aren't very complicated. Maybe they're just like, oh, I have sevens. I hope I hit a set, and that's it. That's all they're thinking about. They're not looking at sizing. They're not looking at. I mean, this was a $200 buy-in, right?
Right, you get a lot of people satellite in who can still run deep, and I mean, there was some
a lot of uncomplicated play. Maybe that's as far as they're thinking. I mean, I watched your whole tournament, and I was thinking to myself, and you even mentioned it. And you're like, is there any real difference here between this and the $30 buy-ins? And I didn't see much. It looked pretty much the same level of play. And there's a lot of that in the 30s. I mean, they're just like, I have a gut shot. And that's it. That's as far as they're not thinking, how many chips do I have left? There's none of that. Sometimes
you can, like I was talking, the one hand I discussed, we with ad nauseum with, I think it was Doug, where I reshoved the pocket fours. And I mean, this was like I told you, there was like Pete Kaiser and a couple of the most top rated guys on PokerStars in the world. And it was like it was like all these guys were pros. This, you would definitely notice the difference. It's just like, nobody's flatting anything.
Yeah.
It's like ace jack under the gun, 6-handed, somebody 3-bets, somebody shoves. I mean, it was just like constantly, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just relentless pressure. And people who just do not give a shit. If they'll make a huge bluff, and if they dust off their stack, then so be it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you would definitely notice, and this, but like, it was funny. I was watching this tournament, and we were looking at the leaderboard, and I was like, oh, New York Knicks all the way, and there's a couple top guys over there, but I'm like, oh, the top guys still keep getting bounced out of here.
Yeah.
But the guys these guys are probably just as good as me. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of hands on a lot of them, and like I said, I just consider that a sign of usually weakness when there's like a lot of flatting. I guess flatting in position is a strong move, and if you're in real strength post flop. But there was a lot of times where it's like, you guys again were talking me out of 3-betting, where it was like, again, like 6-handed, somebody under the gun fold, somebody on the gun raises, somebody else flats with their 19 big blinds again. And I'm like, Mike, you got 9-3. I think there was once with 9-3. Well, that was Jacob's thing too, which was kind of funny because I actually gave you a lecture about the same thing. I said, definitely late in tournaments, never have the auto muck. Always take time thinking, the people think they're going to, but I did have the auto muck, and Jacob jumped. He said, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's all unclick that.
It's funny because I make the same point. I usually don't do that, but then I was trying to do, take at least 5 seconds before I folded. And then there was once where there was 9 deuce in the small blind after a raise and a flat. So I was waiting 5 seconds, and you're like, Mike, I can feel the tension on the other side.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything, are you? So I waited 2 more seconds before.
Just to build the suspense.
just to make you think about it for a
Hovering
second.
the mouse over the raise button.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Those might be the only 2 light 3-bets, or super light 3-bet. But like I say, if I were to go back and do my hand histories from my recent, 240K wins, I think you're going to see me make a few of those moves that definitely work. So results oriented. They did not do well last night. They cost me a lot of chips, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was a good run by both of us.
Yeah,
it's a good Sunday.
Anytime you win money on a Sunday, I guess is. So yeah, I was happy. It would have been cool. Like I said, this is I always thought the next time I final table that thing, I was going to ship it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, this is the 6th time, and so yeah, I don't know, but whatever, wasn't to be.
Yeah. It. I don't know. I'm going back to that 7. Of course, you always think about the bust out hand, but the 7-7 one. I don't know. I think we need to have Jacob on to dissect that thing and really punch out the numbers and everything. But by shipping it there, you're getting out a lot of his like King 9 and his Queen, maybe Queen 10 he calls. I don't know. but those borderline hands. And by raising, you're getting him to shove hands that you beat, like the Jack 10 and ones like that, and then you're going to call off anyways. So, I don't know.
I wonder if you can raise fold there. I don't know. We don't have enough. Against certain players that I have a lot of hands on, I'm never raise folding there. But this guy was kind of a new villain. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be. I think it's obviously pocket sevens. There's only like 6 hands that beat you.
Yeah,
and
I don't think you can raise fold there. Not with 21 bigs. I don't think. It's got to be close. And I think if you're raise folding there, you got to just be. That's just too weak.
Well, when I just looked at it at the end, though, it was risking over 800,000 chips to win 80,000 chips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to win that hand 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I guess we are.
I think you are.
He's folding 90% of his range. There you go. And then we're flipping with then we're winning 30 to 40% of his calling range. So yeah, it's definitely plus EV, the move.
Yeah.
But maybe it's more, if you ran the simulation, doing each 500 times, maybe you do make a little more money if you just min raise and call it off.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then, the min raise with pocket sevens, and then he flats, and then, Jack deuce deuce,
well, at least you got position.
Or 2 over cards, whatever. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I didn't even think about him flatting.
Yeah, he definitely has a flatting range there. I don't know what exactly it is, but
yeah, I was only thinking about him reshoving. Well, yeah, you know what? Maybe min raising is better. Maybe the cutoff is like 19 bigs, and you shove, and then 21 you min raise.
Yeah. It's it's like 16 big blinds. It's a shove with I know. I wonder I'd be curious what Jacob or what a top pro would say would be like. What's the most amount of the big blinds you would need to actually fold there, or would you? If I had 26 bigs and min raise and he shove, it's one of those things where I'm never ahead.
Yeah,
and I think that's a fold. I don't know. But I said, if there's any hands, I guess I should focus on. Well, like I already told you, I didn't like my play with the jacks. I think, like I said, I think that's one where normally I just if I got I had my read what he had, and I still had a shitload of chips. I had a lot of fold equity, where he would have had to been. It would have been a tank call certainly. He would have put him in a horrible spot there with the pocket queens with the king on board. Maybe he finds a call there. I don't know.
The part that surprised me about that hand when I was watching it was that you didn't re-raise with it. So he min raised under the gun with queens, and then you just flatted there. And what was your reasoning for that? Why didn't you 3-bet? Because he was the only one that covered you, or?
I don't know. Probably just disguise the strength of the hand, but also I think his range is pretty strong there. You know what I mean? Like if he's got pocket 8s or 9s, he's going to fold. He's going to fold the hands.
He's not going to fold 8s under the gun, is he? I would raise with 5s plus there.
No. He'd fold to a 3-bet. I'm saying.
Oh, fold to a 3-bet. Okay.
Or he should be, anyways. I don't know what he does. But if you think he's going to reshove with 8s or ace queen, then you've got to call the reshove. I definitely didn't. I don't like playing for. I don't remember how deep I was at that point, but wasn't looking to play for stacks there for sure.
I think you said he had 48 bigs. You had 32.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Well, 32 bigs then. I don't know at that. Well, that's probably above the chip average certainly at that point. I'm surprised I didn't just play for it right there, I guess.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't.
Well, okay, well, this is the final table. I forgot that this was really near the end. Yeah, I was second in chips out of 7, and I thought there were some weak players there, and that was one of those spots where I thought if we played for it all, I'm like always, the best scenario is I'm flipping.
Yeah.
If I 3-bet and he 4-bet shoves, I just don't think he's doing that with 9s or 10s. But I think it'd be a very difficult fold with that stack size, 32 bigs. So
yeah,
somehow, I don't know if I give myself credit for a soul read there. But like I said, you and Jacob afterwards is like, because I was kind of pissed off I didn't shove the river. They're like, dude, you just got the cooler of coolers. You're supposed to be out, and you still have 800-something thousand chips. You're still third in chips now.
Yeah, yeah.
So the hand by no means was a tragedy. But I don't know. It's a good score. Hopefully those SOBs at Carbon Poker will start paying us poor poker players off. Otherwise, like you said, there's really no point in playing, other than if you enjoy the Sunday grind. But if they are paying, like I said, there's a $20,000 overlay in this tournament. So if somehow they end up paying these tournaments, if we're actually pretending this is real money and not funny money, not Monopoly money, then these Sunday tournaments become very plus EV. But I wouldn't be surprised next Sunday to see a 125 guarantee. I'd actually be nervous if it was 150K guarantee. That really makes me think they're going under, where they just don't give nobody's paying attention that they're losing money in tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever seeing any of that money. I don't know. That's just my. If anyone wants to go to the 2+2 forum, and just search for merge cash outs, there's a whole thread, which was is gone for years, but just blew up the last few weeks when all of a sudden we realized there was so many people waiting for checks and nobody's been getting paid.
I wonder what. Where are these sites even based out of? Do you know? Are they in the U.S. or are they offshore?
No. Someone said this is in Curacao. I don't know. And then the checks come from like Curacao to Singapore and through Montreal and all. But even the people who were playing in Canada and Mexico were having trouble getting money from them who had Skrill accounts. So that's a sign. Everybody said it'd be one thing if just the American players were not getting their checks.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have got in trouble somewhere. A couple banks might have noticed this and informed whoever, but no, that's not the situation. The situation,
it's everyone.
The situation appears to be that it's just everyone. So I don't know. But well, Steve, I don't know if you just want to say goodbye. We got some good guests coming up here.
Yeah.
Let I guess, people call. Let us know. Would you rather hear Mike brag about his sexual conquest, or would you rather actually hear poker strategy?
What do you guys want to hear? Well, you got a little bit of the second one coming up here for the next week, huh?
Oh, I have a lady friend coming to visit. Yeah.
Right on. What do you plan on doing? You gonna stick around San Diego, or are you guys going on a trip, or
sitting around saying, "Cook me a burger, lady"? No. I should have more planned. She's an outdoors gal, so we're doing the beach, and there's a few hikes I want to make, and
cool.
we might go to Big Bear next weekend or something similar. We'll see.
Okay.
I'm really, like I said, I'm broke as heck, so this is like my last week of just living like a guy who has money. And after this, I'm going to take all the Steve advice and try to find the cheapest tuna fish and all that kind of stuff. But this week there'll be fancy dinners, and once again, me showing no common sense when it comes to financial matters.
I found that girls dig staying home and cooking more than they do going out to a restaurant.
Well, can you cook?
I can cook.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, okay. What about her?
Ham sandwich, macaroni and cheese. Yeah, she's a very good cook, actually.
Oh, there you go. Problem solved. Go to Vaughn's and have her cook you up something.
Steve?
No? I hear silence. Is that not feeling that one?
It's amazing how you're just cheery about everything now. It's really...
That's the best part. You sit on the couch and watch baseball, and she cooks for you. It doesn't get any better than that, right?
She wants to go out and have some fun, but but we'll see what happens. Hopefully this is funny how mine works. I was going to say hopefully it won't be a disaster. I wasn't going to say hopefully I'll have a great time. I'm looking forward to this. All I'm saying is hopefully it won't be a disaster.
I'm sure it was.
This woman has punched me in the head a couple times. So, like, if I avoid that, then I like difficult women.
Was it with a pillow or?
No, she has power in both hands too. So you guard against the right hand, and the left hand can come in and.
Okay. Well, it should be dynamic. How's that?
It'll be interesting. No, it'll be fun. She's a sweet gal. I just if I treat her well.
Right on. Well, it should be good for you to get away from poker for a while. That'll be good for you.
Yeah, even a week off is a good idea right now.
Yeah. I love that song. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be here next week, and we're going to interview Eric Crane. He's a professional poker player who plays a lot on the Merge Network, and we've talked about some of the hands that Mike's been involved with him on the podcast, and it sounds like Eric's definitely got the better better piece of the action from Mike as far as that goes, so that should be interesting. You guys can hit us up on Twitter at HUP Podcast. Like us on Facebook, Heads Up Poker Podcast. Check out our blog, all the comments and everything there. Headsuppokerpodcast.blogspot.com. And you can send us emails, send us your hands. We'll talk about them on the air. Or if you just want to say hi, headsuppokerpodcast@gmail.com. You have a great week. Thank you for tuning in. And here is your motivational speech.
Eyesight and mindsight. Eyesight is judging on what you see, judging according to appearances. But mindsight is how you interpret what you see. One guy said, "It's not possible. It's over. I'm finished. I can't do it. I can't make it." He surrendered. I've faced rejection again and again. I'm not going anymore. There are no jobs out there. But this other guy, he felt that in spite of the no's and rejections, in spite of how bad the economy is, in spite of what the newspapers are saying, that it's possible that somebody somewhere will give me a job. He just kept going, thinking it was possible. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's what we have to do with our dreams. Because things happen to you in life that you can never, ever anticipate. And many times when those things happen, you want to give up. Easy is not an option. It's hard living. Life is hard. See, it's hard when you are 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay. And you got to start all over again. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it, and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. You know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. It's good to you. Why? See, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination. If you want to make it happen, it's you. But you've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen. You must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. And it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. It's your dream. If you want it to happen, get your butt up and make it happen. If you want it to happen, rise and grind. I dare you not to go back to sleep. I dare you to get up, and I dare you to chase your dream. It's possible you can win. Whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. Step toward it. You want to make your dream come true, you got to stay focused. Some people rather get even than get ahead. Stay focused on where you want to go. Where are you going with your life?